everybody, so we are today going to be making banana bread. It's another one of our quick breads. So let's begin first by preheating the oven to 350 degrees. So that's preheating. We'll give that a little bit of time and it should be very hot and waiting for us when we are ready for it. So you want to first start off by spraying a pan. So I get spray and the pan. Give it a nice coating so nothing sticks. This is a very well loved pan. Clean, but stained. Okay, so we're going to spray that and set that aside. So the first thing we need to do is mash bananas. Now, when you're going to make banana bread, I only make banana bread when I have gross looking bananas, because when they look like this, they have what we call sugar spots on the outside, and they are at their sweetest and softest. So it's perfect for making banana bread. You could also freeze them and make smoothies out of them, or put a frozen banana in a smoothie. You can put them all in a mix or Vitamix type of blender and make it like a soft serve ice cream if you wanted. But we're gonna make the bread. So peel all the bananas. So let me aim this camera down lower so you can see what I'm doing. To peel the bananas. I'm gonna put them in our bowl. And this will take 3 to 4. I prefer 4, but if you only have 3, 3 is fine. I have a trash can over here beside of me. I could be throwing the peels away. Okay, so you're gonna put them all in the bowl like that. I like to remove these stringy pieces. You could keep them in there and mush them all up. I like to remove those. So now you're gonna take your masher, potato masher, or in this case a banana masher, and we're gonna mash them all up. Okay, so we've got some bigger pieces, some smaller pieces. So let me aim it back up here. Pardon me. Sorry, not very smooth. But if you want your banana bread to have bigger pieces, then you can just not mash it so much and have bigger chunks. But if you want it to be a very smooth consistency, that's okay too. It's whatever you like. And again, like we always say, there's a lot of different ways to do things. This is my way. You can do it your way. All right, so we have our bananas here. So now we're going to beat an egg. So I've got an egg in a bowl. Here's a little helpful tip. A lot of people will crack it right on the side. Does it work? Of course it works. But lots of times it'll get shell in the egg. If you want less shells, bang it on something soft, just like the counter. So just hit it real hard, makes it crack. I don't know if you can tell. See the crack? And then you can just kind of put your fingers in that crack and pull apart. Don't push your fingers in or you're pushing shell in and likely to break. So just put your finger and pull. Dump it in. And no shell. I don't know if you can see it. No shells. Awesome. So now I'm going to get a fork. Or you could do a little whisk or whatever. And we're going to just mix it up. Okay, that is ready for us. So we're going to mix in sugar, egg, vanilla, and flour, and a couple other things. One thing at a time. Okay, so if you're writing down the recipe, first we start with 4 bananas mashed and 1 egg. Okay, so we are going to first add the sugar, so you can't see these big old heavy things over here at the side. So sugar, we need 3/4 of a cup. So lots of times I use my 1 cup measuring cup and I just fill it about 3/4 full. But if you wanted to measure exactly, that's fine too. Okay, so this is about 3/4 full. Dump it in the bananas. Okay, done with the sugar. And we need flour. We need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Anytime a recipe just says flour, it typically means all-purpose. So I'm going to turn you around here, let you see big old flour container. And we just need 2 cups of this. Up on the sugar. Now a lot of recipes you'll have to sift the flour. We're just, for this banana bread, we're just making it level on the top and in a roll. So there's 1, 2. Okay, so we're finished with the flour. Scooch on back this way. Won't you follow me? Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. Okay, so now we're going to add the egg that we mashed, or not mashed, but we were beating it. So that goes in the bowl. We're going to add some vanilla, a teaspoon. I'm going to use the same teaspoon for vanilla and baking powder and baking soda. So let's do the dry stuff first. So baking soda. That's salt. That would be a big no-no. Okay, baking soda, need a teaspoon. Okay, level teaspoon. Baking powder, I do 2 teaspoons. And then my recipe says a pinch of salt. And when I first started cooking, that would drive me crazy. It's like, what's a pinch? What's a pinch to me may not be a pinch to you. It's about a 1/4 teaspoon, but you can literally, if you like, take the lid off and do a pinch. You can't really taste that. So I do about 3 of those. That's a pinch. Okay, let me look at my recipe, make sure I have everything. Vanilla. Remember I said I was going to do wet and dry ingredients with this. I did all 3 dry ingredients. So now I'm going to use the same measuring spoon with a teaspoon of vanilla and pour it all in. Did you hear the beep? The beep, that means our oven is hot enough for us. So now it's waiting for us and we don't have to wait for it. Okay, so I'm going to grab a wood spoon. Okay, you can see what this looks like here. Okay, so I'm going to stir this. And at first it's going to look way too dry. It's going to be like, what, she didn't put any milk or anything in it? The more you stir it, the wetter it will look. Okay, so watch as I stir. Let me see if I can get you a little bit closer. Let you see what I'm doing here. Let me get some of these dirty dishes out of the way. And glue down some so you can see this. So first when you stir it up, it's very fluffy and soft because you got all those dry ingredients on the top. But then as you stir it, you get down to that banana that's mushed up in the bottom there. Make sure you get it off the bottom everywhere. You can spin the bowl to help get things off the side. So right now it looks like, whoa, that's just way too dry. That's never going to be a batter. Keep stirring. It will. Still stirring. Now see how much wetter it's looking? If you wanted to add nuts, you can add some nuts to this. You could add, typically people would add walnuts to banana bread. Some people would add pecans, or you could add your favorite nuts or leave it without nuts. Especially, obviously we've talked about food allergy, so you wouldn't put it in there if anybody had a food allergy to nuts. but in my family, some are picky and they don't like the nuts in there. So we'll leave them out. Okay, so we got our baking pan. Remember the one we sprayed? That was loud. So I'm going to just pour, make sure you can see that. Let me angle you back down. I'm going to pour all this batter into our pan. Turn around, let you see that. Get it all in there. Okay, so then we smooth this out as much as possible. You can see this cooking spray that I use is a butter flavor. I don't typically like that. I like to, if I want butter in it, I want to add my own butter flavor. So if you look very closely, you can see how it looks yellow right there. Looks like it has a yellow oil. That's from the butter spray. And it's okay, it's all right. I don't think you can tell the taste of it enough to matter. So I use it, so don't waste it. Okay, so our oven is hot. We're gonna put this in the oven, 350 degrees, and it's going to bake for an hour. You can check on it at 55 minutes, but it's probably going to take an hour. And this recipe makes 1 loaf of banana bread. So, I'm going to put this in. Right in the middle, your top rack. Most of your ovens, the heat's going to be on the bottom, so you want to put it on the top rack so the bottom of your banana bread doesn't burn before the rest of it gets done. Okay, so while that's baking, let's review the recipe because you should be writing this down, the ingredients as well as the steps. So step 1 was to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. Okay, now let's look at our ingredients. We had 3 to 4 mashed bananas. We had 3/4 cup of sugar. We had 1 beaten egg. We have 1 teaspoon of vanilla. We had 1 teaspoon of baking soda, pinch of salt, which is about 1/4 teaspoon, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and then we stirred it all together. And then we put it in, we sprayed a pan. So now you go back over to the side that has the instructions. So after you preheated your oven to 350 degrees, put all the ingredients in a bowl, stir, pour in a greased pan, bake for an hour, okay? And then we'll see what it looks like when it's finished. Okay, our timer has gone off, so now it's time to take out the banana bread. Take a look at it. Always be careful, everything's hot. Shouldn't have to say that, but you know, just in case. I'm gonna put this on my cooling rack that I have here. Let me bend this down so you can see. Okay, so this was the fork I checked to make sure it was done. So when you can tell it's done, you put a fork in the middle, comes out, there's nothing on it, completely clean, then you know it's done. So I could let it just sit in this pan and get it out when the pan is cooler to deal with, and that's still an option. But what I have also learned is that the pan is so hot that it will continue to sit here and just overcook on the bottom and the sides. So I like to put one very clean hot holder over it. I flip it while it's still hot, and then out on the cooling rack. That was loud and fun. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to show you what it looks like when we slice into it. I handed in a knife here. And it's super steamy, so bake this up. So if I wasn't doing this for you, I would be waiting because it's super steamy. So if you're doing this at home, give it a minute. But I'm not going to give it a minute. I'm going to angle it. You see what this awesome bread looks like. And there it is. Awesome. So be very careful when dealing with this hot. It's best to turn it out onto the cooling rack leave it for a while, come back to it, slice it, and enjoy it. Talk to you soon.